So I would say in a nutshell, it's like the batik life chose me. I didn't chose the batik life. Customer did feedback that the styles went from something more edgy to something more auntie. Like the whole brand like shifted. Then I feel hurt when I see that comment. Welcome to this episode of Clean Your Toilet podcast. I'm Desleen Yeo from YeoMama Batik.
And I'm Pei Ying. I'm a Master Certified Coach and also a ex-CFO of a medical company. So welcome to this episode. We are going to center this on the theme of tradition and heritage, whether it's a compass or shackles.
Okay.
Right. So Desleen, let's kick off by starting you with a question of, what did love look like in your lineage?
Love, how does love look like in my lineage? I would say in my family, I presume. So in my family, love is very loud. It's very overwhelming. Even though we are like Asian family, we are not like the typical where we don't express ourselves. My family is very expressive. My dad will tell me I love you every day, even until now.
Wow.
And I always have a habit of like hugging and kissing my parents goodnight when I stayed with them, even up till like my 20s. Only on days when I go out late and then I come back late, then I never kiss goodnight. But other than that, I will always still do that. So love in my family has always been very expressive. They have always been very encouraging and, we are very verbal and showing our love through like our actions and words.
That's very nice. So very affirmative,
yes.
Also physical touch.
Yes.
Right. I think my family is quite different. It's mostly acts of service. So the key thing that really got me is around food. Because both my grandparents were very good at cooking. So then we always go to their place, to their house to anticipate the food that they're going to serve. But then because of that, then I see it in my everyday life growing up, where my dad or my mom will go out of their way to maybe buy something that is not very convenient, but the food is really good, just so that we can try it. And that becomes our way of showing love to each other.
So you always buy food to each other, buy things that
yes, or we
like
look out for
other.
like what are some of the nice restaurants, where do you get this nice thing from, right, as a way of expressing love. But then of course that also has its drawbacks, because then you don't really hear those
the I love you, those
correct,
words.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So I think it's very interesting like how your family has that, because I think it's not that common in Asian families.
Yes.
Right. So like what do you know of in terms of your heritage that brings such a practice about?
I think because both my parents, they come from very big families, like a lot of uncle and aunt, and generally they are all pretty much expressive, but maybe my dad is a lot more expressive to us in the sense that he will openly say, I love you, 你知道吗？我最爱的是你, then always give us hug and like kisses, like, do I need any help? Especially like right now, when, kids us are all grown up and then my parents retire already, nothing to do. Papa always be like, got anything I can help out or not? So sometimes he will help me restock and things like that. Like he really still want to, show his love through acts of service. But at the same time, the bonus is they are all also very expressive. So I think because they grow up, back to the question, I think they grow up in very big families, and family bond is something that is very close for both sides of the family. So they also want us to grow up in an environment where kinship matters the most. And I think that's why they are so expressive about love and about, helping one another, being there for one another. So I think that is their main intention. They want us siblings to grow up being very tight-knitted.
Right.
Yeah.
And so is that true today that you
Yes,
are
actually it's still true. So like right now, whenever I need help in my business, right, no matter how busy my older brother is with his own business or how busy my younger brother is, whenever they can make it, they'll all come down to help out. Whether it's in terms of being models for photo shoot, video shoot, or sometimes in terms of helping to pack stuff, paste, barcode, sticker, that kind of stuff, they will all jump in to help.
Right. And so would you say that YeoMama Batik is an act of love, given that the name itself,
Yeah, I would say so. It's in a way honoring where batik craft comes from. Because my mom is Indonesian. So Indonesia is where like the batik is made. So I thought like my last name is YeoMama. So YeoMama Batik, like, trying to like draw that connection. Yeah.
Right. So how did you come into YeoMama Batik? Like,
How did I come into?
was fashion part of your genes growing up?
No. Actually, I would say fashion is not part of my genes growing up. But as a girl, you reach a point where you like to dress up, you want to look good. Who doesn't want to look good, right? So how it started, it was actually very accidental. I didn't even think that I will run a batik business. So long story short, I injured my ankle after I left my full-time job, and then I was playing around, exploring different part-time jobs. And then somewhere in between, I injured my ankle, needed an immediate surgery. So during my recovery phase, I was immobile, stuck at home, very bored. And then my mom, she was on a vacation in Yogyakarta, where it's like the capital of batik. So one day she just called me as like a usual check-in, like, hello Des, how are you? How's your leg? Oh, I saw a lot of batik here. Do you want to sell batik in Singapore? And then because I was bored and nothing to do, I just like, oh, okay lor. And then during my recovery period at home, I was just thinking about the brand name, the logo design. How do I set up like Facebook ads? How do I set up my own website? What designs do I want to do? And when she came back with the fabric, I'm like, wow, I didn't expect batik to look so colorful. I thought it's like the very brown and traditional type. And then since Chinese New Year is just around the corner, let's just work towards a Chinese New Year collection full of cheongsam. And then we just get it up and running. And since then, we never look back. So after that launch, right, it's like, hey, people actually do buy our pieces. Then,
So you already started off with a physical location?
no, it was online. And then we rented a room inside a salon along Lim Tua Tau Road, where the shop house is the longer kind, then salon in front behind is empty. My papa always go there for his haircut. So he asked the salon owner, can my daughter rent the space at the back? So like things like this, my parents are very involved in like helping out. So we got that room for 1 month, and people do come down to purchase. And then we were thinking like, okay, since I'm jobless now, right, why not try to make this like my full-time job and just see where it will take me. So I would say in a nutshell, it's like the batik life chose me. I didn't chose the batik life, because if I am not recovering from my ankle surgery, when my mom made that phone call, I will probably be like, no time, like I'll be busy doing some other stuff.
Yeah, but at that point in time, even though you had time, but then it will still have to take you saying yes for it to even have a chance, right?
Correct. So at the back of my mind, it's really just to kill time. But I was really surprised when she came back with the fabric and they are bright and colourful.
So that I think that was interest.
Yeah. So I think all along, even though I don't have fashion background, but I've always been like a more creative person. I like music. I like arts. I like to doodle on the walls when I was young and then get scolded by my mom. I've always been that kind of kid, not the very academically inclined and focused girl, but more on the artsy creative side.
Okay. So, when you had that 1 month stint and it really worked out, right?
Yeah.
How then did it grow into a full-fledged business?
Funny story is, after that 1 month, the salon owner felt like we were a bit noisy and a hindrance to the salon goers, the customer, that she asked us to leave. So we start to look out for other unit. Then we chanced upon Jalan Pelikat, this small unit, and then we set up our shop there. Then just 1 year in over there, my dad realized that actually that day when we opened at Jalan Pelikat, during that opening, my dad made the comment that, girl, 1 year later, you need to move to a bigger space. I'm like, 你笑啊，我才刚刚 start. You tell me 1 year later, I need to move. I guess because he has that foresight that during my opening, the space is already packed. Given 1 year of growth, I will really need a bigger space, a proper office. And true enough, 1 year later, we did outgrow the space and move to where our current office is.
Right.
Yeah.
So then, what did you risk by stepping off this prescribed path? Because you were originally in a full-time work, right?
Correct.
Then now suddenly you're running a business.
Yes.
So what was the risk that you have to take?
What was the risk? I would say, firstly, definitely is your income is not like stable. But when you were young, somehow at that point, income wasn't at the top of your mind. And I think I'm lucky enough because I come from a piano teaching background. So I always have the thought that if all else fail, I will go back to piano teaching. It is like a 铁饭碗 in a sense. So that part kind of gave me the courage to like, go out and do. But other thing I risk is probably being misunderstood by my friends, by my ex-colleague, by people around me, purely because I grew up in, let's say, a more well-to-do environment. But that doesn't mean I didn't put in the hard work in building up the business. There will be comments saying like, oh, her parents are well-to-do, so it's easy. But it's not like my parents fund this business. I fund this business myself. I put in the effort myself. I put in the hard work. But these are the things that people don't see. And then when they pass off these comments, it's like, you just feel hurt in that moment. But then, never mind lah. I'll just like go on and do my own thing. So I think being misunderstood. And then as you're building a business, like it is your baby. When you meet friends, it's very hard to not talk about it. Like, 我开口闭口就是一直在想这 business problem. And at that point, you don't really have entrepreneur friends that you can bounce off your problems with. So you bounce off with your friends who are probably like working in a company and they don't understand that why I keep talking about business. And it came to a point where some of these friends will feel like they think that they do not matter as much to me as my business is, and we start to like drift apart. Yeah, so this kind of thing, I did cry over like a few friends lost. Like it definitely feel hurt because I didn't have that intention of making you feel less important. Yeah, but then back then also younger lah. Also we are all younger, so probably they also unable to see my perspective, and I'm also unable to see how me going on and on about my business actually makes them feel a certain way.
So what happened to the friendships?
Gone, no? Like we never contact already for this.
So you outgrew them?
I don't know if outgrew is the right word, but probably our paths don't align anymore. 我觉得这种都是随缘吧, maybe. Yeah.
Okay. But with that, you also then invited new people into your life.
Yeah, maybe I invited more people who are, along the way, definitely I meet a lot more entrepreneurs who, we are walking the same path and same journey. So whenever we bounce off our problems to each other, the energy just spark off and it makes things very exciting. But of course, it's not like we only talk about business. Then we form that bond. And of course, we also talk a lot about our personal life and the friendship that bloom from there.
Right. Yeah. I think in that sense, like for me, because I was also in corporate for quite a while, I only stepped out of it like 3 to 4 years ago. And that journey of shifting wasn't as risky. Risky, yes, but wasn't as risky because I already had a business at the site that was there for like 5 to 6 years. So then there was still some comfort in terms of shifting. Yeah, but it's just that when I decided that I think this business doesn't align with me anymore, and then shifting to a different one, then that is really like where the risk comes. Because as somebody who has a very stable income, stepping out, even though you are maybe earning something, but because it's unstable, right?
Yes.
You keep thinking that, did I actually earn? Did the money go up?
Correct. Like sometimes I just look at my 爸爸 like, 爸, 我不懂有没有赚钱呢, but 我懂我是卖到很开心. Like I see people where I like, but I have no sense on is my margins healthy? Are my costs like okay? That kind of stuff, Like constantly I keep telling my father, I don't know if I'm earning. Yeah, then he keeps saying, you are. Then I was like, really? But
who was looking at the numbers?
Me, or my papa will oversee for the first few years. As long as you got draw a little bit of salary for yourself, you're earning in terms of salary, even though you don't see the company bank account like growing as much. But because you got draw salary, like 你是有在赚的.
Right. But if that's the case, then what makes you feel like I don't know if I'm earning?
I don't know, because I just feel like I'm not a very numbers person. And maybe I don't see the company account number grow. Like it's just like stay like that. Like 钱进了 then 你还这个东西还那个东西 then suddenly like it just like stagnant like that. So you just feel like 我到底有没有在赚?
I see. So then so that was the initial phase of your business.
That was the initial phase.
Then how did it go into a certain growth such that you now have 2 shops?
I think my father once in a while will just like sit down and tell me 你有在赚 and then he will tell me like the big cost, roughly cost like that, the margin 你是有在赚 and then I think just one day I decided to like sit down and try to look at the numbers properly, then to realize that, oh, okay, actually 是有在赚一点点. Yeah, so from then on, I think it's just the people around you. Like as you meet more like business owner friends, you go and meet more people and, listening to advice from my family and you just 一步一步的做, then I don't know, somehow it just grew. I would say for the earliest part of the years, I didn't focus in on the numbers. I just focused in on the fabric. I like fabric. I want to make the designs I want to produce. How do I want to market and sell it? What are the campaigns I want to do? Because naturally, that is where I gravitate towards, like the creativity side of things. And then 就慢慢地做 and just trust that things will go right. And I never do any drastic, big decision that, put the business at risk. If what I'm doing is sort of stable and in my dad's words, 你有在赚, then I don't deviate too much from it lah. I just continue and build up on that. And then when I have the capacity to look at the figures and think more strategically as a business owner, then you look at it. So I would say it started off feeling like a school project, and then now it feels like a business. If that makes sense.
At which point did it feel like a business?
Actually, it's only just recently, like just last recently? Year, like because of the pregnancy and the baby, that it forces me to step back from the company. So for us, because YeoMama Batik, my surname is Yeo, my mom is involved, like the business name and my identity is just so close together that I always see me as the business as me. It's only last year because of pregnancy, I don't want to feel so stressed, step away, let the team handle a bit more. That's the first time where I am able to detach myself and look at it as I am me, the business is the business. Yeah. And then that is where starting to realize that, okay, because of the pregnancy, because of the baby, I need to put in more system and processes. I'm not there physically all the time to fighting fire with the team. And then that's when you start to think more strategically as a business owner. How do you make things sustainable in the long run? Yeah. I would say everything just happened at the right time for a reason.
Right. So it's almost like when you are fully in the business and you're doing the business itself.
Yeah.
Like, it's not exactly a business because you're in it.
Correct.
You are in it when you're out of it and the systems are set up and it can run on its own.
In a way like that, yes. Correct. Because when you are so in it and you started out without a business plan, 你 just 做而已嘛, whatever come to you, you just like do. You're just like purely execution, do, what's next. And then I really see it like a school project. Hey, everybody, like we just like work together, do together, like really like a school project discussion like that. Yeah, so it's only like recently that I feel like I'm able to have that separation and it's a healthier boundary in a way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting. So did you actually, did your dad's predictions come true? In terms of like you outgrow this shop within a year?
Outgrowing the first job within a year, yes, that prediction came true. And then subsequently, because my dad doesn't have like any fashion business background, I think he did at one point just say like, 我帮你就只可以到这里，接下来是你 like 自己去做. And then that's one saying that my father said to me. Every time I think about it, I just feel like tearing up. He will say, 哥，你一步一步慢慢做下去，我会在后面看着你. Something along that line. I think this liner always bring me to tears, even though it's been so many years that he said it. I think it shows the depth of love and safety net and that confidence booster. He's the kind that 你一步一步慢慢走，我会在后面来看着你. Even though he has reached a point where he say 他不懂要怎么样再帮我 in the business, it's up to me. So it's like he's there like emotionally to help as well. It's very different from, I do know there's like a lot of people who like probably want to run a business but their family are like not stable one, like don't do it, like the support is not there. But for my family, it's like that support is there and very strong in that sense. Yeah.
But I would say that like what you are saying is also a big point around family, right? Sometimes we think that Like when they dissuade you from doing something or they support you in a way that you don't feel supported, it's not that they are not supporting.
It's just maybe they don't
yeah.
know how to support. So the best way that they can support is through like emotional stability. It's always like 跟有什么问题可以跟爸爸讲 that kind of stuff. And then my mom will also be like, sometimes see me so tired, just keep reminding like need to eat on time. Then like 煮那个补血汤 like this kind, and then ask me to go back to drink. So I think these are their ways of helping when physically they don't know how to help out in the business. Apart from being my models and dancing around and all.
Yeah. But I think that's a very good reminder because a lot of times like we maybe take family for granted.
Yeah.
And or that we think that family is not supportive, but then they support in their own way. Sometimes it doesn't gel with the way we want to be supported.
Yeah, I think it's just unable to see it.
Yeah, how do you see beyond that to see the essence of what are they trying to bring to the table to support you in a way that you might not immediately see, but maybe you appreciate that down the road.
Yeah, I would say it's just part of growth because, of course, few years ago, I wouldn't be talking like that. I would be thinking, 这么像是在 nag 我要回家喝汤 all these things, you know, you didn't see their intention. You're unable to put yourself.
At which point did you begin to see?
I don't know as I grow older. I think it's just with age and with experience, naturally, I don't know. You just be able to put yourself in your parents' shoes suddenly and like realize. I don't think there is a specific turning point on when did I able to do that. But I know for sure when I look back as I'm going through my early 20s, I definitely don't see things like that. I see it as a form of like restriction. Why I want to go out, eat and play with friends, come back late, but I must still go back and 喝汤. And if I go back late, 那个汤冷了又被骂.
Oh wow.
But then now you realize that 因为汤冷了被骂就不补了嘛. Yeah, like.
But you also don't enjoy it anymore.
Not say I still like to drink soup, but at that point my focus is on spending time with my friends and to go out to play. Yeah, so I think it's just a stage in life where you're at that young 20s going out, exploring, meeting new people. Family suddenly isn't the top priority. I remember I had disagreement with my mom. Her point was why I 1 week always go out. But my point is I make it a point to go home for dinner like 2 times a week. Then my mom was like, only 2 times? Why cannot make it more times? Yeah, so at that point, I didn't see her perspective. But then now, grow up as a mom myself, I see that perspective. I want my daughter to come home and pay every day.
Right. So what do you think changes? Like when it's about having your own kid, like why would the parent want the kid to be home every day?
Love, lor. There's just so much love for the kid. Even right before the kid is born, when you're pregnant, you already love this unborn child that you don't know how the baby will look like. You already think of all the things you want to do for her in the future. You already start to get like those mom to baby insurance. Like, you know, it shows that kind of connection and love and the expectation of the future you have of her in a sense. Like you want her to be safe. You want her to be financially stable. That's why you buy all these insurance policies and all, even when the baby is not born. So that love already sparked from that moment. And then when the baby is born and you're born with the baby physically playing with all. And then I think that connection just built over time that you just want to accompany her all the time. So I guess it's just becoming a mom myself that I start to understand why my mom will behave that way, which I'm unable to see when I was younger.
Right.
Yeah.
But now you can see it, appreciate it, and
yes, I will say now it's more like I finally understand.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, you know, given that like your family is actually sounds like quite big on the tradition and heritage of it, right? So
yes.
what parts of your heritage have you consciously brought forward that you like your child to also experience and continue bringing on? I
will say respect and manners, down to things like sitting at the dinner table, you must call everybody's name to eat. You cannot be like 大家吃。一定要爸爸吃，妈妈吃，奶奶吃，公公婆婆吃。
Wow, okay.
Because that's what we still do right now. 同辈的我没有叫，就是我只叫爸爸妈妈吃，like 阿嬷 吃, then like whoever when there's elderly lah. But to my brothers and all, it's just like 大家吃. Or like when you enter a house at family visiting, you have to call everybody like 伯伯母 like 叔叔婶婶 all these things. You don't just say like hello. Yeah.
But other than like the respect through the manners that you have when you visit somebody, like how else do you see it showing up?
As in the tradition that brought forward. I think it's in terms of upbringing, like allowing how my parents allow me to explore and experiment freely is what I want my kids to also explore and experiment freely, to create a safe haven for them to go and explore the world and not be like afraid of the unknown. But of course, there's a fine line, very dangerous thing. Don't do lah, but I also don't know what like defines very dangerous. Very dangerous or like
do you have any concept of that?
Things, not good things, maybe. Okay, so my family, we don't like, let's say, smoke. So of course that is something that of course I hope that I don't want my kid to also pick up. But other than that, experimenting, being adventurous, going on road trips, doing like, water sports and all, experimenting different activities, go out and like try. Yeah.
So do you feel that in your journey so far you've had any fear of the unknown?
I think not much. Like a lot of people around me feel like I am the kind that I don't dip my toes in the water to test first. I just jump straight in and then realize afterwards like what mistake I have made, if there's any. Like I will just see, okay, then I just jump into it. Like I wouldn't think so much into the bad consequences that could happen. Yeah.
Okay.
So
you already hold a lot of that courage that a young child or a baby would have. Right?
Yes.
Because what you're describing is like a child, when they see fire, they don't know it's fire, but they'll be curious and they will try to want to touch it.
Correct. But of course, as you grow older, through your experiences and interactions, you'll definitely have a bit of holdback. But overall, in general, I would say I'm still a person that jump in. Yeah, and then my husband will always tell me, cannot like that. You must think. If you do this, you must think of the consequences first. Like, so that's why 我们很
Very
配.
adult. Okay.
Yeah. He is the more risk averse. I am more the risk taker. Yeah. So I think we are a balance.
That's why you're together.
Yeah. So I would say growing up, the environment that encouraged me to explore and experiment shaped me into who I am today. To not be afraid of the unknown. Whenever I see a new potential exciting opportunity, I won't think so much on the consequence. Now I will just think a little bit. Okay lah, it's worth the risk. Then I'll just like jump straight in.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, very nice. So like for you, right? I mean, if we look at YeoMama's Batik, it almost looks like a modern take on batik. Right. So like when we talk about tradition and heritage, whether it's a compass or a shackles, like what do you see? How do you feel we should navigate it in the modern world?
I feel like as long as you put the word tradition and the modern world together, there must be some sort of evolution for it to fit in. Otherwise, if tradition doesn't evolve to appeal to the modern lifestyle, it is going to be very hard to sustain. Because naturally, we are already living in such a modern lifestyle. We don't live in like the 60s, like the past. So if something is a craft or a tradition or whatever belief that is then there, it needs to be modified, evolve to fit our current liking and taste for it to move on. So you may inherit that tradition in its essence, but it is not how it looked like in the past. So for example, batik in essence is the wax resist dyeing technique. Maybe in the past they do it in dark traditional colors cause it's the royalties that wear it. But in modern day, maybe I like modern bright clothing. I like cut in. I like cut outs. I like shorter leg. But in the past, they only do it on like longer pieces. But the essence of the craft is handmade. So I take that essence, which is handmade craft, and modernize it with modern, brighter colors, my own prints, modern cut. And then in that sense, it appeals to the modern audience and they like it. And that's where that craft can actually live on.
Yeah. I think it's very interesting because the whole thing around like like how tradition, what's modern today has to come from tradition.
Yeah,
But I
correct.
think the interesting part is how a lot of people do not have such a positive take when it comes to tradition, right? Because of the word itself.
Yes.
And also this thing around, like, we are then essentially not honoring the source of where it came from. Like, what's modern to us today? How are we honoring that tradition that it came from? Because without that tradition, in the first place, there would not have been any evolution towards
Today.
modern.
Yes.
Right.
Correct. I think that is very well said. But then I think it's also down to individuals being, it's very subjective lah. Because there could be some people who feel like their tradition, that accent, the essence, it must still look that way. But some people are okay with that being modernized. So I think it's still very subjective. As long as we know where our intention is coming from, then I think that's fine.
So for you, like you mentioned about intention and all that, right? Do you feel that, like, how do you live your life in an intentional way?
How I live my life in an intentional way. Now that I have a baby, I intentionally make time for my baby.
Okay. So that's
On top of
one
work.
big shift.
That
The
is
first
one-
one was stepping out of the business and
Stepping out of the
letting-
business. Second part is like baby things will always,
Take priority.
urgent baby things will always come first. Like for example, right, today I'm actually supposed to have a meeting at 11 a.m. But because my baby had a fever last night and couldn't sleep until 3 plus a.m. So I also stayed up with her until like 4 a.m.
Wow.
I straight away cancelled or pushed the meeting to can it be virtual, and I cancelled my shoot for today because that comes first. My energy comes first. But in the past, I'll be like, it's okay lah, I'll wake up and I just go because I already promised that this shoot will happen. I need to turn up. Yeah. So I think it's just
then
small
did
changes.
you feel that you struggled with self-care before?
I think I did struggle with self-care in the course of running my business. I was somebody who care for myself a lot before I start the business. As the business starts, suddenly I don't care for myself as much. And then suddenly it's a switch and I care for myself again.
Okay.
It's a journey.
But it's more for the child, that's why.
Also for myself, even before I have the kid, like there's a point in time where suddenly I feel like it's always about work, that I stopped taking care of myself. I enjoyed going facial. I stopped going facial. I also stopped going for like haircut. I stopped going for my exercise classes. And then one day I just look in the mirror, why my skin look dull, got pimple, hair fall, I look flabby, I feel non-energetic. And that's when it suddenly like slowly made me realize that in the course of running my business, you sacrifice a lot of things. You sacrifice your time, your energy, down to self-care for yourself. Because it is your baby and it's very easily that you just put all your energy, all your time, all your thoughts into it, that eventually that thing like eat you up and overtake who you really are. And
It takes a life of its own.
yeah, it takes a life of its own. Like now it's all about YeoMama Batik. Desleen has gone out of the room. Yeah, it's
You
all
are
about the
integrated
business.
as part of YeoMama
Yeah,
Batik.
correct. Yeah. So
But maybe then the question is, because I mean, end of the day, when you first started, it's like an entrepreneurship journey, right? And it's
Yeah.
only now that you have kind of taken yourself out and let it run on its own.
yeah.
So this journey itself, like, is it necessary to put yourself through that, like on hindsight?
For me, I don't regret like putting myself through that. I think it is good that even though I feel like I lost a lot of hair through this and I'm sad, but I think I wouldn't regret. If I have to go through it again, I'll go through it the same way. Because if I don't go through it the same way, I wouldn't realize how much self-care actually means to me. Because you never had that low moment to suddenly feel like, hey, why am I different from who I am before I started the business?
So would you say that like the whole journey of entrepreneurship, like it takes a lot out of you, right?
Yes.
You're basically got to put a lot in. Day and night you're thinking and working
Yes.
on it. But end of the day, because you are pushing yourself to those degree of extremes, it helps you to find what's important for you.
Correct. Yeah. I think you put it in a very right way, because I pour so much of myself into it. And then it came to a point where, yeah, from there, then you realize what is it that truly matter that will make you feel like you again. Yeah, then I start to like spend more time on those aspects that you truly start to be able to find who you are, find yourself.
But do you feel that you like kind of lost yourself in the process?
I did in some point in time, and I think it did show up in our clothing designs,
Oh, okay.
It's very interesting because when I first started out, it was my phase where I like to go party and all. So my clothes are like crop top, very short, got hole, got slit here and there. Then as the business grow and there's more customer, and naturally the word batik somehow appeals to more elder ladies, let's put it that way.
Okay.
So they always feedback and say like, hey, why your top always sleeveless, always so short? Can you make something longer, baggier, A-line, that kind? So I start to listen to them so much that I keep making so many of that style until I think last year or last year we did a customer survey. And customer did feedback that the styles went from something more edgy to something more auntie. Like the whole brand like shifted. Then I feel hurt when I see that comment because I don't want to be seen as just an auntie brand. Man. Then I start to be more on ground with my customers. And I say, hey, it's true that really a lot more aunties came into the shop. It could be a young lady like my age, bring the mom to the shop, but the mom shop only, the young lady never shop. It almost feels as though that we don't have clothes for her profile. So that's when I made the conscious design to like, did I even lose myself in it such that customers can even tell through the designs? So interestingly, last year's, the most recent Chinese New Year collection, we make it a point to design in a way that what will Desleen want to wear, right? So there's a lot more bareback, cut out pieces, shorter tops.
Is that what you're wearing today?
Yeah, something more kind and all. Like I start to, even though there's aunties who are like, hey, I like this top, but why is it sleeveless? Can you make more sleeve option? And I say, then here got other sleeve option, like I intentionally want to still have a younger crowd design. In the past, I'll be like, okay, point taken. When I go into design, okay, they say, ABC say they like this design, but they like it with sleeve. Okay, then I make all just with sleeve. Like I lost myself. So this Chinese New Year collection, the one that just passed, I did make it a point that I must have pieces that I personally like and will wear, and it's not just about covering up. Even though, yes, I still listen to my customers' feedback, but there needs to be a balance of what I like to wear. And true enough, there's customers who came back and say, this year's collection feels a bit different from the past. There's a bit more of a younger vibe to it. Then I'm like, yes! It truly works.
So like given the brand started off reflecting you as a person, right?
Yes.
Like how come it will come to a stage where it became like purely about the customer's feedback?
I don't know. I think because you care so much about the business that you lost yourself in it. Everything is just about the business. Whatever is good for the business, whatever people say they want, I just want to cater to them till a point where I stop catering to myself, which is the intention of it is to also make clothes that I like to wear.
Right. And so would you say this is a journey of like also finding yourself?
I think
losing yourself?
Yes, it's definitely a journey of discovering yourself again after losing yourself.
Yeah, because I did ever hear a different entrepreneur share about how, entrepreneurship is probably the most challenging personal development journey you ever go on.
Yes. In my friend's word, she used the word brutal. Entrepreneurship is brutal. I've never really used the word brutal, but when she used it to describe entrepreneurship, I'm like, agree. Yeah.
And given that, would you like then encourage people who are, wanting to wander off the beaten path to pursue that?
I'll still say yes because I'm the kind of person that I don't think so much, right? I'll say yes.
But even on hindsight, you still say yes.
I will still say yes because to be honest, you never try, you never know. And while you are still young and have that energy to, I don't want to attach to age, while you still have that thought about it, it will come to a point where one day you'll always be like, 早知道 I did this. So I don't want to live my life with that kind of regret. So whatever thoughts that you have right now, give it a shot. Even though, yes, I understand there may be financial burden because of family or, you need to take care of your caretaker to someone in your family. There are restrictions, but I believe there is still a way to do what you want, but maybe it's in a smaller scale of that dream that you have. At least give it a shot.
I think that's important.
Yeah, so my good friend once tell me, at the end of the day, the only thing between you and your dream is you. You can always find 1,001 excuses, but I got a kid now, I cannot do this, but this, like there's a lot of but in everything. But the only thing that's stopping yourself is you. You can always adjust that big dream of yours into something bite-sized and try out first, ma. Yeah.
So I think it's a lot around daring to experiment.
Yes.
Right? And like we always know that something's going to come up to stop us lah.
Correct.
We are going to let that stop us.
Yes.
Things like, I need to earn a paycheck to support the family.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we ourselves end up being out of the picture.
Correct.
Like most people don't end up pursuing their dreams.
Yeah.
Because it's always about obligations.
The circumstances and environment you're in takes the top priority first after your innermost dream. But of course, find a balance between that. I'm not saying that your environment is no longer your priority, but I believe there is still a way to work around it in a bite-sized format.
Yeah, correct. Like you don't have to suddenly quit your job and go and do something different.
Yeah, maybe just start one thing, like just one small thing first. Then at least you are already doing more than you were before. You're already improving than you were before. Yeah.
But like for you, it also wasn't like how you particularly were searching for something. It just appeared.
Yeah.
And then you just have to say yes.
Yes.
Right. And so do you feel like actually that's how life is like? Like, in terms of the journey you're meant to be on, a lot of times there will be signals or clues to tell you to get on this, to get on that, or to not get on it.
I would say I actually never think so much about whether this is a clue or this is a signal. I'm just somebody who go with the flow. But to be honest, if you were to ask young Desleen at age 5, 6 or something, if you ask her what she wants to be when she grow up, she'll say she wants to 做老板.
Already then.
Already then. So I already grew up knowing that I want to be a boss. What is that industry? I don't know. But somehow along the journey of growing up, after I graduate, I get into full-time piano teaching, and then I get into events job. And then I had the thought, maybe 做老板 not good. Because as an employee, I knock off work and I play. As an employer, as a boss, I knock off work, I still need to think about work. So I enjoy my playtime now. Maybe I don't want to be a boss. So it changed.
Okay.
And then somehow...
But do you feel you kind of lost it or forgot it along the way when you were wanting to play?
I don't think it's forgot or lost. It's just stuck at the back of my mind. I'll just never go and think. Never put thought into it. Okay, maybe I don't want to be a boss. But then somehow life comes in full circle. And right now, as a boss, I will say I truly enjoy being one and running my own business. As much as there's a lot of challenges, I'm glad that this came full circle. I had a chance of being an employee and then being a full-time piano teacher with my own free time, and then now back to being the ambition that I wanted to be when I was a little girl.
That's very nice. And so then right now, based on where your company is at, what's the next evolution? Or what's the next evolution of Desleen?
The next evolution of Desleen. Okay, the next evolution of company is easier to say. Of course, growth is in the works, but we are not thinking of growing in terms of opening a lot of store. Maybe it's growth in terms of depth to really show batik as an art form, and we want to work with different artists to create their artwork onto batik, to treat batik as a medium. In that sense, that tradition can, evolve into a more modern lifestyle feel. So yes, we are working...
And more of that creativity as well.
More of that creativity. Because at the end of the day, I think 我就是很喜欢 creativity 的一个人. Yeah, so we want to grow in terms of that depth and not in terms of opening a lot of stores. So that is on the business side of stuff.
Right.
On my personal side, I think it's a lot about balancing work and home at the same time, because now that I'm a mom, I want to spend more time with my baby, but at the same time, the business also requires a lot of myself in it. Yes. Yeah. So it's how do I intentionally strike that balance? It can go down to how do I intentionally put events into my calendar. I put baby swimming lesson first before everything else. I put my own exercise class in first before anything else. Because in the past, I think I put everything else first and then suddenly look at the calendar and then look at the workout class. Hey, don't fit like then I stop going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so now it's like I put in the class first and then work will form around it. So I think I just need to continue to do that, because to be honest, for the past months when it was the peak season, I did cancel a lot of my personal things for work. But then because it's the peak season, like if you don't chiong then when do you chiong? So now it's a down season. I'm starting to put my personal things first. Yeah.
So then do you feel that it will still be a seasonal thing? Because like the kind of business you're in, it has its seasons, right?
So that is the thing that we are working on as a company. We don't want batik to be seen as just a seasonal thing, because that itself is a stereotype that people have of batik that you only wear for special occasions. We want to still try to show that batik can be for everyday wear. Maybe it's in terms of, making the print less intricate or more subtle, everyday colors. Like, this is something that we are still figuring out. So hopefully we are not just a seasonal brand.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And I guess that's where the creativity comes in.
Yes, that is a big part of that creativity work also. And strategizing how we should do the launch and, getting this message out to public. Yeah.
Nice. So, as we talk about all these different things, right, there's also a lot that, not just what you're creating, but end of the day, it's also what you're passing on, because the work that you do is very much on the traditions and heritage around batik, and also, I guess, your family in terms of how your values show up in the workplace, in the business. So what would you say you are unintentionally passing on?
I would say what I am unintentionally passing. I think for a start, everybody has something that they are unintentionally passing on. It's just whether or not they know what it is. So I know for mine, when I think about it, it will probably be my drive, my ambition. That is something that I'm pretty sure my daughter will grow up seeing that. And maybe she will also see the part of me that gives too much of myself into it. Whether or not it reached an unhealthy point, I hope it doesn't. But even if it does, it is something that I wouldn't say pass on to her. It will be something that she observed and maybe realized that it's not good mentally, and then, something to learn from. So I would say a lot of what I'm doing now is what I am unintentionally passing on. And also how the whole family is so involved in the business. I hope that she also realized that harmony breeds prosperity. Like my father always tell us, 以和为贵. I hope this is something that we are also passing on for her to really see how whenever somebody has an issue and asks for help, whoever is available to help will readily go in to help without second thoughts or without asking for anything in return. This is something that I hope it is also passed on to her as well.
Yeah, I think the thing about passing stuff on, passing aspects of your generation, intergenerational stuff on, or traditions or heritage. The thing is this, right? However you are being good or not, right? The child will take it on. Right?
Yes.
Because they observe and when you're in their field, they'll take it on. Even if it's not a good thing, they will still learn it anyway. Maybe not learn it in terms of what not to do, but maybe they'll learn to do it because when they look at both parents, the parents are their role model.
Correct.
So whatever they see, naturally, it must be right.
Yeah, so it's very scary, because now my baby only 8+, 9 months old, already want to go after the phone. So I was telling my husband and mother-in-law, we need to make a point that when we eat together during dinner time, I cannot use phone, because that will unintentionally let her feel like it's okay to just be on your screen and not communicate over dinner. So I think anything big and small, they are things that will make you more self-aware. Yeah.
Right. And so then do you feel like this journey you're on has essentially become quite a deep mindfulness or self-awareness journey?
It is because to be honest, I was never one person who is so introspective or, to go and reflect that deeply. But because of my daughter, it just makes me feel like what are the examples that we want to set for her. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess it really shows like how when you become a parent, there are a lot of things you need to look out for. When it's a new role that you're taking on in life,
Yes.
there's so much mindfulness around how you go about it and how
Correct.
it should work out.
Yeah.
Actually, not very different from when you start your first job, as an example.
When I start my first, don't know leh. Maybe still young and like in the don't care mentality.
Yes. But now, I mean, having a child is a big responsibility.
Yeah.
And therefore, like with how it rolls with the business, I mean, it's interesting to see how much care and thought you put into how you're organizing it.
I think it stems from that deep love that you have for your child. And you only want the good things for her. And that's why you want to set the good examples for her. So everything really just started from that deep love and bond that you have. Yeah.
Okay. So, as we come to the end of the episode, right, what would you say is a nugget of wisdom or a message that you'd like to leave with the listeners when it comes to tradition, heritage, or even, living life?
For me now, I would say, because growing up, I think there were some like expectations of how I should behave. So maybe the nugget of wisdom is I am trying to tell myself not to impose the expectations people have of my kids for me to impose on my kid. So, for example, like I used to be a piano teacher. So now when I play piano for my daughter, friends or family will naturally say like, oh, your daughter next time will also play piano like you. I mean, there's no harm in that. It's just a passing remark. But I don't want her to feel like she must be a good piano player or she must play till a certain standard. And then, of course, I know I will want her to be able to play the piano, but I need to constantly tell myself to not force that expectation on her. You get what I mean? Like,
but the thing is, it's already in the space, it's like maybe you don't say it, but then like it's in your...
Correct. So maybe if I still want her to learn, I shouldn't have the expectation, oh, you must go for exam, you must get your grades, you must get your diploma or like whatever. Maybe I shouldn't
just experience
have that.
It.
Just experience. So if I want her to learn, my point is to experience and maybe to train your psychomotor skills and all, but not really chasing the grade. And I need to tell myself it's okay with that. So in a sense, I don't want the expectation people have on her become an expectation I have on her. I need to like undo myself.
Yet you're saying that it is becoming one, right? But what makes it an expectation for you towards her as well?
Yeah, lor. So I need to tell myself I cannot have the expectation, because I know I competitive ma. Like I want her to be able to do things ma. I don't want people to feel like 你妈妈是 like 做 batik的 then 你也是要去。So like they will say like, okay, it's a daughter and next time she can take over the business. But I know it'll be nice, I'll be happy if she take over the business. But if she doesn't, I need to tell myself that I am okay with that. In the sense that the expectation shouldn't be forced onto her.
Okay. So I think the big lesson here is around expectations, right? I think not just expectations we have of others, but also expectations we have of ourselves.
Yes.
Because you don't expect of others unless you're expecting of yourself as well.
Yeah.
So then it is how do we manage that, and like are those expectations reasonable? Where do they come
make
from?
It sound so cheap.
But it's a good food for thought. Like sometimes it may not be a message to leave the listeners with, but it could be something to think about.
I think to put it in, like to explain it plainly is, I'll be happy if my daughter take over the business. I need to tell myself it is okay if she doesn't. The main point is telling myself it is okay. Yeah, if she doesn't.
I think the people who run family businesses or wanting to pass their business on to their kids should hear what you just said.
Yeah, because telling myself that is a lot harder.
Yeah, because a lot of times it is the fruit of labor that you already have put into this, and therefore naturally you want to pass whatever you have put so much into to the next generation.
Correct.
But the thing is, sometimes the form is just not what they are aligned to.
Yeah. So maybe this is like what you asked me in the earlier questions, like tradition to modern. Maybe it's not tradition in a sense, but it is something that I already built. And then how do I make it part of her world? If she
without
doesn't,
imposing.
if she doesn't accept it, it's okay, because essentially she's taking the essence of the drive and ambition that I take into building this, and maybe she build into something else.
Yes.
Yeah.
So kind of not being attached to the form, but then
the
just looking at the essence that you're passing down.
Correct.
Because I think in the world we live in is so material until we're attached to the form of a lot of things.
Yes.
But if we can just look at what's beyond that form into the essence and embody that, I think it's a easier way to live in.
Yes. Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Pei Ying.
Yes, so thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Clean Your Toilet podcast. And I'd like to get you to finish off with a call to action.
Honor where you come from and choose who you become. Because I think that is a lot of what we mentioned just now. Honor where you come from, but then you choose and pick the essence to become who you are.
Yes.
Yes.
Because without knowing where you come from, you also wouldn't know who you are.
Yeah.
Right. So stepping on that journey to discovering yourself, I think that's key. And I think that's what the bulk of your journey has been about.
Yes.
Through your business.
Correct.
So thank you for sharing your wisdom here today.
Thank you for this therapy session.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.